What's happening, Hot Wheelers? Joe Motor here. I suppose if you've been collecting for a long time, you've seen just about every car there is to see. You've looked through all the catalogs, you've been to a lot of shows, you've been to the stores, you've looked around on eBay and online, and you pretty much know all the cars that are available out there at any given time. I'm still new enough of a collector that every once in a while I come across cars I never knew existed, especially from older series that, even though I may be aware of the series, I just never came across the car before. And I hope that never ends, because as a collector I really love discovering cars that I just never knew existed, and then tracking them down is just a lot of fun, and then putting them in the collection is even more fun. So got a couple of cars here I want to show you like that, and this one in particular I have to give credit to Heavy Metal 164's channel for showing this car, which I either don't remember seeing or I never knew existed, and I of course had to have it. So I did find this one loose, which is what I prefer, and thought we'd take a look at it, even though Heavy Metal 164 showed this pretty well. This is the 56 Chevy, and it came from a series called the 100% series, which is also known as the Black Box series, and it's because they came in these sort of black boxes back here, but you can see the 100% up here, Hot Wheels logo, and we'll get to this car in just a minute and take a look at the packaging. But first off, I'll just give a gander of this 56 Chevy, which is just a beautiful car. The treatment of this sort of dark teal, almost mirror Spectraflame finish is incredible, and the camera doesn't do it justice, but I'll try to show you around here. Beautiful tampos, the 56 in yellow on the sign outlined on the side to sort of acknowledge the 56 Chevy. The sponsor badges here on the side, really nice and crisp. We've got the little bitty treaded tire here in the front, big fat meats, slicks in the back, as you would expect for a car like this. Not quite a gasser stance, but pretty close. And over here in the front, beautiful chrome details, painted headlights, and this scoop coming out of the hood here is just incredible. You can open up the hood, see down in here all these shiny chrome details. Really beautiful work down in here. Hood just shuts perfectly. And then over here on the other side, pretty much the mirror image. More sponsor badges. And those chrome wheels are beautiful. The interior's even got a nice tan, light tan sort of color to it. You can see some texture in the seats. It's a 4-seater or a 5-seater, or maybe you could even fit 6 people in there. Very nice. And then around to the back here, as you can see, beautiful detailing on the painted tail lights and chrome details all the way around to the bumper. I just can't say enough about this car, and I can see why it is gets so many compliments, and I just didn't know it existed, and it was so exciting to track this thing down and find it loose, and now it's in the collection. So I can't say enough about it, and shout out to Heavy Metal 164 for showing it to me. So there's the base, and it is a metal base, painted black metal base, and that's just beautiful. To get a metal on metal car with that Spectraflame finish in an older series is very exciting to me. And so I started looking around on some of the other cars that I may have missed from this series and came across this one. So let's take a look at the packaging of the 100% series here. So these cars were released, this series was released sort of in the late 90s. I don't know if it spilled over into the 2000s or not, but a lot of these cars were released in the late 90s. And I wasn't collecting back then, so I don't remember these, if they were a lot of these around on the pegs, or if these were sort of just in hobby stores or not. You'll have to let me know if you remember seeing these in stores, where they were, and how often you were able to find them. But you can see that does have a J-hook for the peg here, and they would hang like this if they hung them on the pegs, which is not really great. This is kind of like the M2 packaging, where if you collect in the package and they hang them like this, it's already doing damage to the package. And but the design of the packaging was certainly for the collector, the discerning collector. We have an acrylic case here that the car is in, and then it's sort of got this elevated black box that it sits in, and then it has a window on the other side. So this car here is the 57 Olds, but it's actually modeled after a actual race car, and I'll let you read this here. It's a Doug Mockett car, and he raced this car in Mexico in the La Carrera Pan American race back in 2002. This car supposedly was able to hit 170 miles an hour, And so this was sort of an interesting piece of racing history you don't hear a lot about. And that's another thing I love about this car, especially, is when Hot Wheels or Johnny Lightning or Greenlight or anyone go after an authentic race car that was in part of a race that you and I probably haven't heard much about. And so that authenticity and that commemoration of actual racing in a car like this just makes this even more valuable to me. This one here, the 56 Chevy, to my knowledge, on the back of the package, it's not modeled after an actual race car. So this is not authentic livery for a car that actually existed, to my knowledge. Now, if I'm wrong about that, let me know in the comments. We'll correct it. But the package certainly doesn't indicate that this was a car that was raced or that actually existed, but I don't care. It's still a beautiful piece. But some of the other cars that came in the 100% series, just to give you an idea, here's this Chevy Nomad dragster, which is super cool. This is on my cover image on my YouTube channel. This is another car that came in the 100% series. Metal base, metal body, beautiful paint job, rubber tires, and then this one actually comes up and goes up and down. I've shown this in a previous video, so I won't spend too much time on it, but the 100% series had some really fantastic models that just kind of blow your socks off, and that's certainly one of them. And then, of course, one of my favorite little dragsters, the Killer Bee, that was another piece that came in the 100% series. Again, metal base, rubber tires, nice details, beautiful tampos. A lot of these were modeled, at least the race cars were modeled off of actual livery. And so, but there are all kinds of cars. They just weren't race cars. You could find all kinds of different models in this 100% series. So it's just sort of like a premium set of cars that they released. And again, I'm not sure exactly how many there are total or how long they ran the series for. But really interesting series if you like going back and collecting some of the earlier stuff from the 90s at least. This is definitely a series to sort of look after. But again, the packaging is a little bit overdone in my opinion, at least from my perspective today. Here it is on the bottom if you want to really read a little bit about the series itself. If you want to pause that and read it, it kind of tells you a little bit about the reasoning behind this series. But again, the packaging for me, I'm a loose collector, so this is going to get cracked. It's nice that it comes in an acrylic case, but again, like I said, if these were in stores, this flap here just is not very desirable because all it does is move and damage the package the minute it's made. It starts to get loose. Now this one's in pretty good condition, but the other thing is that you're going to see when I pull this apart is that there's a lot of cardboard inside this case, and so it's not like it's an archival package. It's eventually going to yellow and rot, and it's susceptible to moisture. So you really have to keep these in pristine, untouched conditions if you want to, sort of keep them in the package like this. And that's a burden I don't want to have. So I'd rather get this thing out and put it in the display case so we can see this car up close. So we're going to crack this open, and let me get my knife out so we can get in there. Okay, got the knife. I just wanted to crack this open on camera, so for those of you who are new to collecting or just don't know about this series, you can kind of get an idea of what it's like to crack one of these. These packages have a lot of stuff in them, and you know me, I like to get right to the car, so we're going to do our best to do that. The sides are usually glued in addition to having this taped sort of sticker tab on the side, so they're hard to get into. I mean, not super hard, but they're not terribly pretty. Look at all that glue, and see, it's probably not acid-free glue, so that stuff is going to start deteriorating anyway the longer you keep it in this package. And as you can see, when you open it up, you basically just have a bunch of empty space underneath, which for me doesn't make much sense. And then you have regular cardboard on top. You can already see the tape starting to sort of stain the cardboard there. And then you pull this out and you have this whole crazy packaging apparatus. I mean, look at this. It's insane. So, I think maybe eventually, and I don't know how much, what the cost is of this stuff, but it just seems kind of excessive to do all of this just for the sake of the packaging, especially when you're already including an acrylic display case. So, in the bottom, there seems to be something. Let's check it out real quick to see what it is. A little mail-in. There you go. And here's a little survey you can take and send it into Hot Wheels. Of course, this is copyright 1999, so I doubt they're still taking this information, so we'll put that aside. And then we'll cut into this, but you can see there's sort of some decorative packaging over regular cardboard packaging. It just seems kind of weird to me. But let's crack this open a little more. There you have the flaps coming loose. And then here's the actual car, finally. But look at all this extra packaging. And I've done this in a previous video several years ago. I did a video. It was probably this car or one of the other 100% cars. And we opened up, and there you go. There's all this extra packaging. So put that aside here. And here's our beautiful car. Isn't that gorgeous? So next step is to take this 57 Olds out of the acrylic display case. Okay, here we go. That was a little bit tricky. Get it out of the display case. And then because it has moving parts, or at least the hood opens, then they decided to put this nasty rubber band around it to keep the hood shut. And what that has done over the years, usually what will happen is you have damage to the paint because of the rubber band deteriorating. And so again, excessive packaging that actually does damage to the piece that you're trying to collect. Instead of keeping this in the package for years and years and years, it's just sitting in there rotting. So let's see what happens when we take this off, if we get any paint loss. And we're getting some. I don't know if you can see right here to the far left, we're getting some paint loss here. And so that's just not a cool thing, not a good idea for collectibles to have this sort of yucky rubber band stuff on it. So I'm trying to be as careful as I can, but we're gonna get damage from the rubber band on the sides. You can see right there, because of those rubber bands, we're losing a lot of paint, and that messes up your collectible. And so the idea that these were done for collectible reasons and done in all this excessive packaging, to me, ends up being kind of a gimmick, because what they could have done is just left the hood to open or close, put this in this acrylic package, and then blistered it, just like kind of like Auto World does or whatever, and been in much better shape. But here we have damage before we even pull it out of the package. So it's probably difficult to find these in mint condition if they've been in the package for a while. All the more reason to crack open those cars, right guys? So this also, now we're not done yet. We got to get the screws out of here so we can release this car, just kind of like an M2. So let me get my little screwdriver out and we'll get to work on that. So after all of that packaging carnage, from the cardboard to the taped sides to the glued edges, all the extra space, the cardboard, the acrylic case, the screws that had to come out of the bottom of the car, and the nasty rubber band across the front of the hood of this car, we finally can get this car out and take a look at it. And I am so impressed with all of the decals and tampos on this thing. It's just fantastic. Look at this thing. So let me get some of this other stuff out of the way. It's distracting us from the cool stuff here. There we go. So again, the 57 Olds, this is based off an actual race car that raced in the La Carrera Pan American, I think is what it was called. And beautiful, beautiful details. Just like the 56 Chevy here. Really nice white painted headlights in the front. Nice studded details across the bottom of the hood. I don't know if you can see that. Nice crested sort of logo here on the front. You can see Saludos Amigos on the front. Beautiful yellow to orange to red flames on the front. Let's take a look under the hood that was so carefully protected by those nasty rubber bands. I think the hood would have stayed down. It is pretty, it's not one of those kinds that gets really loose. It's pretty stable in there. So we have a totally nice enamel red interior for the hood, nice chrome engine that shuts down very nicely. Up here we have some more tampos here, beautiful. As you can see, I can't really read that. I have to read it once we get it on camera, but you can see the damage that was caused by the rubber band. That is a shame. That is definitely a shame. But check out the windshield. Super sharp lettering right across the top of the windshield there. Cosmos logo on either side. La Carrera Panamericana on the top there. Even more text on the top here. Nuevo Laredo. Again, more text on the top of the canopy here. Nice details on the side. I mean, the side of this car is what got me. The flamage, the sponsor badges, this Cosmos 133, super cool. Really, really cool. Tiny, tiny little details here on the side of the car. I don't even know if I can get close enough for you to read what's on the top of the door right there. I don't know if you can see that or not. That is super tiny. Super tiny details. I think that says Copilot. It's hard to say. Got a door handle here, the beautiful chrome detailing all the way to the back. Just beautiful. Look at that. Love it. Interior is black, got some texture on the seats, chrome steering wheel, and these chrome dish tires are really nice. They are thin, sort of treaded tires. I'm not sure if those are authentic to the type of race car this is. You'll have to let me know if you know. Going around to the back. Nice enamel red paint, no tail lights. Got the St. Croix. Nice chrome detailing on the bumper. The Savant logo, the shooting star. More nice chrome trim here around the edges of the back window. Just super nice details. And this on top saying Olds in nombre solamente just means it's Olds in name only. That it performs quite different than your normal run-of-the-mill Oldsmobile. But that is an incredibly beautiful car. I just can't get over how nice it is. It's got a shiny metal base, and I think the year on it is 1997. I think that's what it is. Yeah, 1957 Oldsmobile. So I just can't get over how cool this car is. And again, it's something that I love about collecting is, especially if you're watching other people's channels and you're part of the community, whether it's on YouTube or Instagram, you're constantly seeing cars, and I hope I never get to the point where I've seen it all. I hope that for the lifetime of my collecting career, I'll always come across cars I've never seen before, and old and new, because that's one of the big joys of collecting for me, is coming across these cars that I didn't know existed, but now, of course, can't live without. So thank you guys for watching. I've got more videos planned, so I hope you'll stay tuned. Keep on motoring, and we will see you next time.